Hey gang, how are you? So today I'm going to show you how I make a really tasty coleslaw without any mayonnaise. Now, why am I not using mayonnaise? Many of you guys know mayonnaise is usually based in a seed oil. Yeah, a seed oil. So we're trying to avoid the seed oils. At least I am in my diet, and you might be as well. And this dish, this coleslaw dish, is traditionally made with a mayonnaise base. So I'm getting rid of that and putting other ingredients in that are really going to give it a wonderful, crisp taste. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. Now, if you guys are new here, we're a small homestead here in southern Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And we really focus on teaching and helping you guys better yourself, learn skills and things that are applicable to improve your life. But if you're just looking for the recipe, you probably want to go right around this time down in the video where I'll start the whole process. So why eat coleslaw? So this is like a regular staple in my diet. Cooked cabbage as well as raw cabbage. So why am I eating this stuff? Obviously, cabbage is a very... So what are the benefits of coleslaw? Yes, it's nutrient dense, vitamin C, vitamin K, and very importantly, it contains a lot of fiber. I mean, all plants are going to contain plant fiber. But with this food, with this coleslaw, I now have a very nutritious and filling snack. So it's actually beneficial if you're trying to watch your calorie intake and have a sense of fullness. Now, what's great about the plant fiber, and this is why people complain, they'll say, oh, cabbage makes me feel bloaty and gassy. I don't want to eat that cabbage, man. It makes me feel sick. Well, there's a reason why this is happening. I don't feel any of that. Why is this? Why is this? Why am I not getting all bloaty and from cabbage? So what cabbage does and these other plants do is the fiber, you're not actually eating. This is non-digestible by human, but it's being digested. It's being eaten by the wonderful little organisms in your digestive system, the gut microbiome. You have organisms down there, the bacteria that are chewing it, munching it down, and it's feeding them, or what we call, have you heard, like probiotics. Probiotics. Now, the probiotics, or the organisms in your gut microbiome, which is a huge subject I'm not going to get into, but if you're not familiar with it, they're breaking down some of these compounds and their byproducts, and the byproducts that the microorganisms make confer a health benefit to you. So if you're eating this roughage like cabbage or something and it's making you bloaty, that's your body saying, oh, I'm not used to this. Okay, your gut is not used to these foodstuffs coming in, and it's going to react. So you're getting gassy or bloaty. It takes a while, but your body will adapt to whatever your diet is. Not giving medical advice down here, ain't a doctor, but do your own investigation. Talk to your health guy, your health provider, about any significant changes you're going to make on your diet. But this is a relatively common and simple dish. So let's get started. Coleslaw isn't just a bunch of raw cabbage, but I'm putting some wonderful vegetables in here. Now, guys, be aware of this. This dish is very modular. You can really put whatever you want into there. Just the cabbage is a base. You could use a red cabbage, a green cabbage. I'm using a green cabbage today. Whatever you want to put in there. But some of the vegetables I like to add in here, and what I'll be putting in this, carrots, delicious. Right? Lots of vitamin A. Rabbits love it, right? Red beets. So I'm going to shred those vegetables. I like to add red onion and red pepper. But these vegetables, and the reason I like to put them in my coleslaw is because they're rich with polyphenols, the antioxidants, which are the good things. We like them in our diet. They're good for us. They get rid of the bad guys, the free radicals floating around in our system that wants to damage our cells. So we have a diet rich in polyphenols, which are going to help keep us and keep our cells from the oxidative damage from the free radicals that come in from the environment and all the other junk food we are constantly chowing down on. All right, so let's get started with our chopping. I'm actually going to use half of this, half a cabbage. I'm not going to use this whole cabbage because the other vegetables I'm putting in here are going to put the volume in the dish. So I'm going to chop this in half and shred it. Little trick for cutting your cabbage. Rather than slicing through and potentially hacking off some fingers again, what I like to do with any hard vegetable or even a pumpkin is just add light pressure and rock your knife back and forth. So you're not sawing through, you're just lightly rocking with a downward pressure, and eventually it'll split in half pretty simply. So you don't need to put a ton of pressure. Okay. Now we have a nice supply of freshly shredded cabbage, and it volumizes, as you can tell. Once you get it shredded, it's going to take up a lot of space. So that's why we're only using half a cabbage rather than that full thing. If it was a full cabbage, this would be overflowing. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our other veggies. Everybody's used potato peeler. So if you don't have a peeler at home, you want to peel your carrots, another way to do it is just scrape it. Scrape the carrot and it'll scrape that outer layer off. Shredding time. Now I am going to switch cutting boards because these beets are extremely red and they're going to stain my wooden cutting board. I don't want that. So I'm going to switch these over to a plastic board so I don't stain my nice board. Yeah, it's not red that red. So if you don't work with beets before, you're going to stain. Put on an apron and use your alternative cutting board because it's going to stain. All right, let's add our red onion. Like I mentioned earlier, guys, this recipe is really yours. I'm just showing you the way I make it, and I like red onion. I put a lot of red onion in this recipe. It's a very mild onion. It doesn't have that strong bite that a yellow onion has, and they're really magnificent for your salad. Lastly, as far as vegetable go, I'm going to chop these red peppers and mix the whole thing up. Okay, so all my veggies are finally chopped up and ready to be mixed, and I'll be adding the extra ingredients. So guys, what am I putting in here? Red wine vinegar. How much is going in? Maybe a quarter cup. Red wine vinegar, and I like to use rice vinegar, another quarter cup. But again, do what you want. You can put white vinegar if you really want, or the wonderful apple cider vinegar is good in this dish. But I like to use these two, particularly the red wine vinegar. And I'm going to drizzle a little oil on there, actually olive oil. This is Calavita. It's a store olive oil. I could find better, but it's what I have in the cabinet, so I'll be using this. So if you want to do add oil, which I think it gives it a nice texture and flavor, olive oil is the way to go. Again, the whole point of this dish is we're trying to avoid the mayonnaise. The omega-6 oils in the mayonnaise, we don't want to have that from the soybean oils that most of them are made out of. So we're going to be using olive oil. And here's a little, maybe not, is honey. I'll drizzle some honey over top, maybe a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons for this entire gigantic bowl, just to give it a little bite of sweetness. It's not necessary if you're trying to avoid sugar, kick it out. I think it's a negligible addition. Frankly, I don't really mind putting in that little bit of honey, and I can taste the difference. So it does present itself once you mix it all up. As far as spices goes, it's not very spice intensive. I'll add some mustard seeds, maybe a tablespoon or 2, a tablespoon of celery seed, and a couple tablespoons of salt. Okay, maybe 1.5 or 2 tablespoons. Really, again, mix it up, see how it tastes to you, and add it to your preference. And a whole bunch of pepper. I like pepper, so I add a ton of pepper. Fresh ground pepper is best. I think the flavor is much more vibrant. You can use ground pepper, but I like to grind it fresh. So I'm going to mix this up and try to get it thoroughly mixed. And you're going to notice everything's going to turn pink because of this beet. All right, good enough. So the next thing I'm going to add is salt. Why am I adding salt? So the salt actually leaches some of the water out of the cabbage. So when you add salt to cabbage, it's going to bring some of the moisture out of this cabbage. Not a ton. It's not going to be hugely significant, but it's going to make the cabbage, anyway, I feel it's going to make the cabbage a little softer when I'm mixing it up. So I like to add this first. And this is a Himalayan rock salt, but use what you prefer. See how it's turning pink from that beet? That's a good thing. I like the beet, and I like the chemical, the polyphenol, that compound in the beet. So it's nice to see that turning all pink. I add my pepper. I'm going to drop in some mustard seed. And finally, the wet ingredients. So I'm going to drizzle about a quarter cup of this red wine vinegar. You know, I never measure anything because I've been doing this so long. I kind of eyeball it to where it looks good. And this is not a cake. You're not baking anything, so it really doesn't matter if you go over or under a little bit. My rice vinegar. Again, you can replace this and use apple cider vinegar if you wish, which is really good. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of honey. Just a little bit. You see that? So we get this honey from a local apiary. That's plenty. Maybe it went a little too much. And I'll add some celery seeds. Celery seeds always good. Who doesn't love celery seeds? We'll put a little bit of that in there. Take the lid off. Just dump. A little more. I'm a flavor hog, so I love to make everything super taste or full of flavor. And lastly, I'll drizzle on my olive oil. How much am I putting on? Probably the same amount, a quarter cup in total, give or take. Again, we're not baking a cake. It doesn't need to be precise. That looks good. That's basically done. Just give it and mix it thoroughly. There we go. So there you go, guys. There you have it, and it's done. Now the question is this stuff actually, is it actually tasty, or is that just something I'm saying because I'm one of those health nut weirdos? It's actually very good. Oh my God. It's really good. So it's best, sorry, it's best to let that sit too now for a couple hours, and all those flavors will start to really come out, and the salt will draw out a lot of the flavor. It's really, really good and easy snack to make. All right, I hope that video was helpful and in a traditional way. I'm wearing a different shirt because, as usual, I accidentally erased the last part of this video. So if you guys enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Ooh, and I have another video on a delicious cabbage recipe. It's, what do you call it? Sauerkraut. You know, click on the video or this video right here. You'll find in our how-to and our cooking section. So check that out if you want another cabbage recipe. Other than that, I'll see you next time.